Hello and you're very welcome to the JMac podcast. I'm John Man. Of course, this podcast is brought to you by orgaretcha.com. Use my promo code JMac podcast to get 15% off on the website. Loads of new gear dropping just in time for the new year, so get on the website. And today I'm joined by Ballymun footballer Alan Hubbard to talk about, I suppose, his career with the Ballymun lads and I suppose the Dubs at the minute, and all a bit of crack and a bit of banter for the next while, Mr. Hubbard. How are you?
How are you keeping? You alright?
All good, sir. All good. I said off air to you, it's Friday today. I think it's the first time 2-3 weeks I know what day it is. So that's a small win.
Yeah, that's good. Look at the weekend come.
Definitely, Mr. Hubbard. Definitely. I suppose it is the 6th of January. We're over Christmas, about a week or two at this stage. How did it go for you?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I suppose, as I said, young kids, it's all about them. I suppose the end of the day, as long as they're happy and Sandy's good with them, that's the main thing. I was just getting back to normality is nice as well. Stop eating and drinking and get back training and back to work as well, which is nice.
Yeah, but normality is key. And I suppose, did you maybe enjoy a bit of kind of downtime that Christmas brought? I know obviously work and heavy training schedules, Ballymun and everything that goes with that. Alan, so did you just enjoy a bit of downtime?
Yeah, look, I think it's nice. Look, I was off for a week and a half at work, which is nice. Don't turn on the PC, don't think about anything. And then obviously, seeing friends and family, eating and drinking probably too much as well at the same time. So look, it is nice. And then obviously tipping away training at the minute. It's nice as well. So a bit of balance. You're still training, but look, everyone knows when January comes, that all changes. Everyone's mindset changes, diets start, pre-season start, all these sorts of things. So I suppose it's nice the break, but it's also good to get back. I think everyone gyms are packed now at the minute. I'd say you can't get in the door, but look, it's nice to get back to normality, I suppose.
It definitely is, Alan. It definitely is. And I suppose kind of touching on to, we were just kind of talking off air about maybe the pre-season kind of coming back, and obviously Dublin got their 2023 campaign underway during the week against Wicklow. Obviously, Wicklow side managed by Oisin McConville and Desi Farrell in with Dublin again this year, and obviously Jack McCaffrey, Paul Mannion back. I know Johnny Cooper stepped away last week, and Pat Gilroy's come back in, so it's been obviously very busy from a Dublin end of things. But it was great to have it back, Alan.
Yeah, look, it is great. Look, I look on Twitter there. A lot of good young guys from Dublin, especially like a lot of good guys in the under 20s being brought through. I think obviously Ger Lyons and Derek Bourne are involved in that team, and they seem to be involved last night with the team. So I think they're probably trying to bring new guys, new talent through, and give these guys an opportunity on Bourne Cup, and it's a perfect time for them to get it. Like Dublin's obviously very, very hard to break into at the minute. It's very strong. So these guys are, I'm sure they're eager to show what they can do at the top level.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to, I suppose, blood new lads. I suppose obviously pre-season it was a good win against Wicklow. It was definitely convincing. I know we were kind of talking off air about the new blood, a new kind of talent coming in, and obviously like the likes of Jack McCaffrey, Paul Mannion. I know them lads might be rested just for a month or two, Alan, or even maybe a week or two. But great to see them boys back.
Yeah, look, I'd say they're probably doing their own bit, with the main team. I seen like there was a lot of guys like Fenton, all these guys, the Stalwarts, Kilkenny and stuff, John Small, James McCarthy. None of these kind of evolved at the minute, and you don't expect them to be in the Bourne Cup. I wouldn't say like they probably need the extra break or just training behind the scenes. But look, I think the way the game has gone now, it's so professional that I'm sure all these guys are going to be coming back in tip-top shape anyway. It's like I don't think they take much downtime at Christmas. It's natural that they just keep themselves so fit, because they're playing at such a good level. But I suppose the addition with Jack now again and Paul Mannion, like two unbelievable footballers, especially club and county for years, that they're going back into the side. I think they'll really push Dublin on this year now again.
I suppose when the news did break about Jack McCaffrey and Paul Mannion, Alan, like it's probably was realistically an early Christmas present for Dublin fans, because probably two of the best players we've seen play this glorious game in the last few years, Alan.
Yeah, definitely. Like Jack is obviously a position I played in. Jack is one of the best you'll ever see at that position. He's just so quick, so good at reading the game. Like he's excellent. And then even at Paul Mannion, like he's class inter-county footballer, but even he does it at club level. You've seen him, like even when he stepped away, he was still doing that club level for Kilmacud last year, carrying that team. I don't mean carrying them, they've obviously an exceptional team there, but he just the class above everyone else. You could see, get him the ball, he'd score, he'd take on his man, but like his work rate as well is exceptional. So you're bringing two guys into that team there now who have already won All-Irelands, who have the experience. Only going to help them. That's the way it is.
Obviously, last week, Alan, Johnny Cooper stepping away from the Dublin fold. Not bad innings, 7 All-Irelands, 11 Leinster titles, few All-Stars in between that. And what a servant to the Dublin cause.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Like, you know, he's around the team, I think, since like 2010. Like, you know, he's probably 12 years there, probably even earlier. Yeah, look, he's been brilliant underage. He was always involved in minor teams, previous 21s, and then to go on and do what he did, like, and I think obviously he was captain last year. You know, he just brings that experience. You know, even the few rows and the discipline and all, like, he just has that knack of being there, being in your face, tough. You know, great competitor. Look, he's had a great career, and you know, I don't know, was reasons for stepping away, maybe injuries or something like that. He had a few injuries in the last couple of years, but look, he's been a great servant for the club, or for the county, I suppose, and his club. That, you know, he's probably stepping away for other reasons, and maybe might concentrate on the club a bit more.
I suppose, Alan, like the addition of obviously Pat Gilroy as well, and Pat did lead Dublin to the promised land in 2011. So I suppose that addition alone, the experience that Pat has, you know, some addition.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Like, Pat Gilroy is an unbelievable manager. I was involved with him, and brought me into the squad in 2009 for a couple of years, and Pat was brilliant. I think he was the catalyst for that, starting that era of great success with Dublin, and you know, the work rate and belief he brought into a lot of those lads was incredible. You know, he really started, and he made some of those footballers, the Bernards, Paul Flynn's, you know, he brought them to a new level that they hadn't got to in previous years with Dublin. That he brought this work rate ethic, all this sort of stuff, and you know, the belief, I suppose, that they had to win, and he brought it forward. And I think that, you know, a lot's owed to him to start it off, and then Jim obviously taking it then further and bringing this great bunch of great lads through.
Absolutely, and I suppose, kind of looking back on Dublin's 2022 campaign, obviously getting to an All-Ireland semi-final against Kerry and just coming up short, probably due to Sean O'Shea masterclass, but it does really go to show. Maybe people thought Dublin maybe weren't at the race to a degree last year, and getting to an All-Ireland semi-final. Maybe if Conor Callan might have been playing that day, it could have been a different story. Fine margins, Alan, but you know, they definitely weren't far away last year.
No, and look, you hit nail on the head there. We said that before the game. There was a lot of talk going into the match that Conor Callahan might have been injured, and Clifford at the time, they were saying that he was going to be injured, and there was a talk of which one is, you know, if Con was out, you know, Dublin might struggle a little bit, and if Clifford was out, I think Kerry would have struggled against Dublin. And I think it was obviously that free that Sean O'Shea kicked, obviously was the winning point. But had Conor Callahan be played in that game, I would have fancied Dublin before the match. I think Con is unbelievable footballer. Like, he's so hard to mark, so strong, so direct. He would have offered Dublin a different dimension up there that they didn't really have, and I think Dublin would have beaten them. But look, I suppose that's just my opinion, I suppose. But yeah, I think, look, having Clifford at one side, who's an unbelievable talent, and then having Con on the other side, they're missing him. So I think that might have made a big difference for him.
I suppose, kind of looking forward to the year ahead, obviously with all the new additions and probably a fully fit Paul Mannion in a couple of weeks' time, Conor Callan. So look, it's a lot to be excited for, to be a Dublin fan.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you know, Dean Rock's there, and Scully. They have a lot of great players. Costello played really well last year, you know, so they have a lot of good players coming through. And then there was not young guys. Larkin O'Dell got a lot of chances this year, so like, they have a lot of young guys coming through as well. And I'm sure the O'Byrne Cup in the league will give a lot of these lads a run out and an opportunity to impress. And as I said, it's a very hard team to break into, especially like the way they're performing the last 10 years. But I'm sure if they give them the opportunity, and some of them are good enough, they'll try and take it and push that team on.
Yeah, definitely a 2023 campaign that the Dublin fans can definitely get very excited about. And I suppose, Alan, touching on to yourself, you've represented Ballymun basically all your life, and we've seen, you know, the documentaries about Ballymun in the last couple of years, and the great work that Paddy Christie's done, and you know, Philly McMahon within the community, and obviously even yourself, and the likes of Dean Rock, and so many kind of talented people around the club. And I suppose, what does it all mean to you?
Look, I suppose it's everything. Like, as we said, we talked off air about this. Like, look, I'm playing Ballymun since I was probably 12 or 13 now, and I'm 35. So like, you're giving up most of your life to play with this team. And look, it's from day one, I loved it. Like, going in and representing the club, and I suppose a great positive for us was, you know, winning things and having great success with the players I grew up with. You know, I mentioned winning the championship in 2012. The bulk of that team were made up of the minor team and 21's team that Paddy Christie had brought through, like Davy Bourne, Jason Wheel and Owen Dolan. Some great players that we played with over the years and great servants to the club. And I suppose winning it with them and Sean Curry as well in goal, like some of these guys, exceptional footballers, done so much for the club and bringing us on massive amounts over the years, which was great, you know. So it's what you want to do, and it's why you love it.
I suppose that was obviously a very, hard-hitting documentary. Like, we basically seen the ins and outs of Ballymun and what football means to the area, and the work that Paddy Christie done with all you guys. And I suppose probably at times you maybe can vouch for this. If it wasn't for football, you know, God knows what. Maybe, you know, Pat's people, a lot of lads could have went down.
Yeah, look, and that's happened. Like, there's been lots of guys we've played with over the years, you know, underage, you know, 12s, 13s, 14s. We've lots of guys who've, you know, unfortunately gone down these paths of, you know, maybe drugs, crime, all these sorts of things. But I think football has been great. And as you said, like Paddy doing what he did for us, he went above and beyond. Like, he was like father figures to a lot of these guys, a lot of us. And, you know, he brought us everywhere. He made sure we were looked after with gear, we were fed. Like, what he did was more beyond football. It was, you know, more human. You know, he was looking after making sure you were more cared for in life, in every aspect, you know. And I suppose football was the release for a lot of us to get out and play and just to enjoy our life, and just didn't have a care in the world outside of playing a match or training. And then, as I said, we were so well looked after as like even an underage team. We were the best kitted out team in Dublin, really. When we were 13s, 14s, we had all the gear, and that was through Paddy and getting sponsorship and all the stuff he did. And look, we loved it, you know. And I think then, you know, they were the days we really enjoyed the most, you know, was growing up in that era.
Yeah, I suppose that I think I seen a remark during the week. I think it was that someone was saying that the Ballymun gear, I think it was that Philly McMahon was saying that like it was Adidas sponsored gear, and Philly couldn't believe his ears or eyes when he heard and seen about it. I suppose small wins back then.
Oh, like I'll get the story I'd have, like, even I think 14, 15. We met, I think, in the Towers of Ballymun, which is a pub, and I think we were handed a bag of gear, and this Umbro at the time was Paddy's sponsor, so he was wearing a lot of Umbro boots, Puma King.
Yeah.
But a lot of Umbro sponsors, so like we were handed a bag that had Umbro bag, a tracksuit, a raincoat, a home and away jersey, and a home away socks, and a pair of Puma King boots.
Yeah.
Puma King boots back in the day, 20 years ago, were probably £100 more. Yeah. Every player on the team was handed a pair of them boots. So God knows where he got the money from, but he made sure we were well looked after, that we never needed anything, that he never had to go to parents looking for something, because he knew some of the parents mightn't have had the money, they mightn't have had the opportunities to give these lads to play, to pay for this game. So it was never a question that he was going there. He always just made sure that we had it, we were ready to play. You know, he got lifts himself, his wife, you know, they brought us out in cars. The Dolans, obviously Owen Dolan's mother and father, would have brought us everywhere. 10 fellas in a car going out to McCud and St. Jude's and all these sorts of places, and you know, we weren't even thought of it. It was just brilliant that we, you know, the camaraderie and the jokes and the laughs we would have had over the years.
I suppose we obviously see the great Ballymun teams of the last couple of years and the players that represented Dublin and even in Croke Park, Alan. But I suppose what maybe when you were growing up in Ballymun, like what was maybe life like for you growing up back then?
I suppose like just playing with the lads. I suppose that gave me the hunger for watching Dublin. Before then, I would have always played soccer, so I was playing with Talca Rovers. I wouldn't really had an interest in GAA. It's only when I started playing GAA is when I really got the graph for it. Like, so I just started, you know, loving watching the matches, and then obviously knowing that Paddy, our manager, he was playing in Dublin, so you'd have a big following then, and like Ian Robertson and a couple of other guys involved in the club, like Darren Ducey, fellas who played for Dublin as well. So you're watching these guys playing senior, and then like we would have played our matches, and Paddy would have looked after us. Then he would have brought us to a senior match, so we would have went from our match to a senior match or something to watch that, because Ted was bringing us home. He was looking after everyone. So our days involved around being around Ballymun, or going to matches, or, you know, being involved hanging around train. train before them or after them and stuff. So just to facilitate his schedule because he was so busy. But yeah, just that's what made us love it, and just to grow up and want to play.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see that throughout the interview. And I suppose like Paddy Christie, I know he's gone in to manage Longford this year, Alan, and you know he's really kind of building bridges from that point of view. So it's like the man himself, like, unbelievable work over the years, and still most likely doing unreal work within the club. So it's pay a tribute to that man.
I look, Paddy. So as I said, any interview you ever ask anyone who in the club about Paddy Christie, who's been involved and was going to speak so highly of him. He's done so much for so many people, so many teams over the years in that club. Like it owes a debt of gratitude to him. And look, as I said, he's probably moved on now a little bit not from the club. He's not gone from the club, but I mean, he's so busy now. He was involved with ECU, and now he's involved in Longford, and he was involved with Tipperary last year and the year before. So his just schedule's gone so big that he's not taking underage teams. But look, he's done his service now, and I think look to a lot of other people now to take on that mantle and try and bring through as many players and teams as we can, and hopefully make Ballymun a better team and club going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose I kind of look back and like the ins and outs of like so what Ballymun was like back then. And I suppose it is a real testament to you guys to like get to an All-Ireland final, you win your Dublin Senior Championships, and I suppose keep putting Ballymun on a map, because you know at the end of the day it definitely wasn't easy all them years ago.
No, look, it wasn't. You know, and I think when we first came in at a young age, a lot of us were thrown in the deep end at 16 and 17 from that team, because we weren't good. We were struggling in Division 1. We were constantly in relegation battles for numerous years. And, it was very difficult. Like, it wasn't, we didn't just walk into a team that were winning championship or competing for champions. We struggled for many years. And I think that's what made us, is that we had to fight very, very hard. We had to work so hard to get to where we wanted to be. And it was only Declan Shane came in then, and he brought a good professionalism to us with strength and conditioning, kind of brought us on to a new level. We had a lot of good balance between a lot of young guys coming through and a lot of the older experienced guys that helped gel us together. And I suppose we just went on from there. We worked really hard, we trained hard, and we started to compete in the leagues a bit more, and we got a top 4 one year, which was a massive success, and then we won it the following year, which was brilliant. And that was, I'd say, like winning a league. We hadn't won anything in 20 odd years previously to winning championships. I think back in '85, I think was the last time they won a championship. So when we won a league, it was a massive thing for us, so I think we went on celebrating for I think 4 or 5 days, because that was the big ends. But look, it bold us to want to I suppose get more success and work hard to try and win a championship. And then we kind of believed, well, look, we won Dublin League, maybe we can win a championship. And then we went on from there, and we got to a couple of semi-finals, and eventually then we got over the final hurdle.
The talent pool of players as well, and within the club, like, and obviously a lot of like the boys have represented like the Dublin teams, the great Dublin teams for the last couple of years, like yourself, Dean Rock, Philly McMahon, James McCarthy. The timeless James McCarthy, you nearly get exhausted kind of looking and playing these days. He's just an unbelievable athlete, and the talent pool of players within the squad, that's only going to make yourself and everyone else play better.
Yeah, look, I think there's even guys there that haven't even been mentioned. Like, there's guys Jason Wheel and Davy Byrne. Some of these guys went on and done great jobs at Dublin as well, but also Ballymun. Like, these are driving the lads on at club level every week. And it's very hard at times because we're missing so many players a lot of the time. But we're in a privileged position. We have so many guys represent Dublin at all levels, especially senior in the last probably 10 years, that we've had a great contingent of guys up there. And look, I suppose it's a great success to maybe someone like Paddy and some of these guys bringing them through. But obviously they're working hard themselves and to get into a great position to go on further. And obviously helps Ballymun to put us in a good position to compete every year as well.
I suppose obviously we kind of watch from afar the Dublin kind of club championship and the quality of players and teams within the championship. Alan, and obviously yourselves, Kilmacud Crokes, Nafina, St Vincent's, and obviously you have a great rivalry as you were saying off air to me, against St Vincent's over the years, and playing in kind of some of them Dublin club championship games have been so enjoyable over the years.
Oh, look, yeah, we've we've had great rivalries. We've been a lot of teams over the years. As I said, Vincent's, when we first started competing, then Bridget's, they were kind of needed to, because I think Bridget's beaten us in the semi-final, and we had a bit of rivalry with them. And then obviously Vincent's, we beat them in the semi-final one year, went on to win the championship, but then they beat us in the final the next year, and they beat us in the final I think 2 years after. So over the years, early on, we kind of had massive rivalry with them, and then Kilmacud are on the scene with Ballymun then again. And look, as I said, the competition in Dublin is so strong. Vincent's are coming back now, back into the senior championship this year, and I think, look, the championship's so good. Like, even like we were beaten by Lucan 2 years ago, who have a very good young team coming up. Coola last year as well, exceptional young team, a lot of good young players. So I suppose on any day in Dublin, it team could beat you if you're not at at the races. Doesn't matter how many good players we have, that if they're working hard, they're organised, they're well set up, they could get one over in the end. I suppose that just shows the competitiveness in the Dublin Championship.
I suppose kind of looking back, we were kind of talking about the All-Ireland appearance in 2013, and winning the Leinster titles and the Dublin Club Championships, and so it was great times for yourselves and everyone involved. But like the All-Ireland final against St. Bridget's, it was obviously such a good game of football. I know you're kind of saying it was maybe tough conditions wise, but so it was looking back, Croke Park, All-Ireland club final for a club like Ballymun, special times.
Yeah, look, it is. It was unbelievable for us. It was like kind of had to pinch yourself moment, because look, we're a small club, and I know a lot of clubs, people outside of Dublin might think that Ballymun's a huge club because we're so lucky that we have so many representations in the Dublin senior team. But if you look at the members Ballymun have, we've probably 80 odds adult footballers in the club. You could go to Nafina, Ballybowden, Kilmacud, these clubs, they could have hundreds. They could have 5 or 6 teams at different levels. We have 3, and at a push, we have to borrow players off certain teams to get through. And to get to where we did that year was exceptional. To win the championship, firstly, to go win our first Leinster title ever in the club's history, and then, as I said, get so close to an All Ireland. It was magical. Like, unfortunately, we didn't get over the line, but still very proud. I'm sure a lot of us are to say we did that with the club, and we can look back and have fond memories of the journey and all that through Dublin and Leinster, and experiences we never had, and travelling to Thurles to play the Kerry Champions, Dr. Crokes, and we had Port Leash in the final. We had a great route on it, playing some brilliant teams, and and obviously Bridget's then gone on to win it. Like, some exceptional teams in their own counties in their own right.
I suppose, like, as we kind of remarked a few minutes ago, like the times Ballymun kind of seen themselves in over the years, and back then, like, to be in Croke Park, to be representing your friends, your families, the community itself, Alan, and it's great stuff for everyone involved.
Oh yeah, look, it is. I suppose, as I said, it makes us all proud that we did it, and look, I suppose, and that we hope that gave the younger generation something to strive for and want to do, and hopefully that they can do something similar. Obviously, we won the championship there 2 years ago, 2020 during COVID, and we were playing some great stuff. We played the county final, and I think we won by 10 odd points against Ballybowden, who had won it the previous year, which was exceptional. Like, but had we got a run that year, and maybe Leinster campaign or All Ireland, things might have been different. But look, that's life. We played well. We won another championship. We were happy. But yeah, look, I suppose bringing any of these competitions, if you're going on to top levels and you're getting the support you are, and family and friends travelling around the country to you, it's a great buzz around the community, like similar to Kilmacud at the minute. I'm sure they're having great atmosphere around there, looking forward to their own journeys for the semi-finals.
Of course, that game is this Sunday as well, so we're looking forward to that. I suppose when you can look back in 2013, and obviously it was a great year for the club, but I suppose the All-Ireland defeat, like, do you ever kind of look back with, is there any sort of regret, or were you just kind of proud to get there?
Look, I suppose there's obviously going to be in the back of your mind, there's a regret that you didn't win it. I suppose, like, it was such a tight game. They got the last minute point. Like, we were up by so much at half time. I think it was 9 odd points, and not to win it, it's obviously going to have a sore spot in you at the end of the day. But look, I don't think we weren't mentioned before 2012 of going on to win an All Ireland, and even ourselves internally, it was like Paul Curran was the manager. He said, just take every game as it comes, and that's what we did the whole championship. We never talked about an All Ireland. We never even talked about Dublin. It was just like game 1, game 2, game 3, and then we got to a final, won it, and then it was like game 1 again through the Leinster campaign, and that was it. We just took it game by game. We didn't even look too far ahead. We had a good team, and we just went as far as we could. And unfortunately, as I said, at the end of the day, a kick of a ball, like, the ball was inches from dropping short and the crossbar, but it went over. And look, fair play to them, they got the win, and we didn't. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
Absolutely, like anything in life, Alan. I suppose it goes to show how maybe dominant Dublin club football is, because obviously a lot of Dublin clubs have been competing in the All-Ireland finals in the last couple of years, and that's probably testament to what's going on in Dublin GAA circuits at the minute, Alan. So I suppose like 2014, 2015, 2016, the years that followed after that All-Ireland final, like, do you feel it's a few missed opportunities since that, or is it just maybe players dropping off, or what would you maybe put it down to?
I think just the competitiveness in the championship is just so tough. Look, obviously, I think there's a few years there we should have done better, and we didn't. But look, that's up to ourselves. But look, as I said, the teams are so strong out there. Like, as I mentioned, Vincent's and Bridget's early on when we first came through, and then St. Jude's were very strong. Ballymun, Kilmacud, now Nafina are knocking on the door the last couple of years. There's other teams coming through there. Thomas Davis, a very good young team. Mentioned Cool. Like, look, I could go on and mention 8 teams that would probably sit down at the start of the year and realistically think that if they get a good run that they can compete in the championship, and that's a testament. And I don't think that happens in many counties, with due respect, that they're going to sit down at the start of the year and say, look, we're going to really get this a rattle, or we could go on and win an All-Ireland. But I just think that if these guys and teams get the attitude right and play well, that they could easily win a championship in Dublin. If they play well and perform, and once you get out of Dublin, I think they could go on a good run in Leinster and maybe an All-Ireland, as you've seen over the last few years.
Absolutely. I suppose, like, how competitive is it all, Alan, like, kind of getting out of Dublin and playing in some of them games? Because I know obviously Dublin GAA put the games up on YouTube for everyone to watch, and like, they just look like such rip-roaring contests. And I know Kilmacud are slightly out in front at the minute, but it doesn't take long for a team to come back into the pack because it's so good and the quality's so good.
No, look, that it is. And I think as well, Nafina, like, have been knocking on the door the last couple of years and won a league, and similar to ourselves, a lot of good young players coming through from a similar team. And look, they were very close this year, kick of a ball as well from Kilmacud. Like, there were a few points up midway through the second half, and they had a couple of opportunities and didn't take it. No, that was a very windy, horrible night, rainy and stuff like that. But look, Shane Welch, he kicked the balls up the other end, and we were with the opposite. Nafina were the opposite, the other end, that they kind of missed a couple of opportunities themselves, and they were probably kicking themselves over it. But look, that just shows you that the competitiveness in the championship is just so strong, and anyone can put it up to anyone else in a certain day.
And I suppose, what are we thinking maybe for Kilmacud on Sunday in the All-Ireland semi-final? Like, I know Shane Walsh has been a pivotal part to playing all this so far. I know Paul Mannion's on the way. I think he's back running by all accounts, is what I'm hearing. But I suppose Kilmacud, are we looking at All-Ireland favourites?
Yeah, I don't know much about Kieran O'Reilly's, to be honest with you. I know, like, obviously Tommy Walsh and a few players, Dave Moran, I think, as well. So, like, they have a few good players, but I don't know much about them to say. But looking at Kilmacud for the last 5-6 years in Dublin, they're very, very strong. They're very well organised, very young, very fit, and I suppose in the last couple of years they've gained a lot of experience of winning and competing in tight games and stuff like that. So I'd say, look, they'll be very hard bet now, to be honest, this year again.
I suppose briefly on the Shane Walsh transfer, when it then kind of did come through, and I suppose a lot of kind of negative press about it and good stuff about it, and I suppose to have a talented player like that in Dublin, I suppose, is great for everyone to be watching. But I suppose your take on the transfer when it did happen?
Oh, look, I suppose it's everyone was kind of saying they're already a strong team as they are, and they're probably going to get one of the best forwards in the country at the time, because between him and Con O'Callaghan and Clifford, I suppose the three of them are probably out there on their own, nearly three of the best forwards around. And adding that to Kilmacud, it was just sticking gasoline on the fire. I suppose they're very strong. But look, as I said, it doesn't matter who you have on a given day. I think if someone gets their attitude right and they're playing well, they can put it up to them. And look, I suppose next year, hopefully, Ballymun will put it up to them.
Fingers crossed, that'll be great to see. I suppose last few you've been brilliant with your time. I suppose who'd be your toughest player to play against and the best player to play with? Nice easy one.
The first one's very easy. The toughest player I've marked was Stephen O'Neill.
God, yeah. I think anyone could testify to that, yeah.
I think he gave me an absolute hiding in Croke Park on my debut, in front of 82,000 people, to make it worse. Just embarrassment.
You're not the only one.
That's why I don't worry too much. He did it to many fellas and dummies. All his clips on YouTube. But yeah, I think that night I marked him in the first half, and he had kicked about 3-4 points off me from play. But then Paddy Andrews and kicked a couple off him as well, so it wasn't too bad that he gave a run around. But look, he was a different level of a footballer. Like, as I remember going to try and block him on his left foot, and he just dummied solo and just kicked over his right foot as if he was 10 yards in the goal, but he was about 40 meters out. So yeah, just different level stuff, you know what I mean? I suppose then I have two fellas I could say the best I've played with. I mentioned them earlier on, two brilliant club stalwarts. Owen Dolan first, a great friend of mine, full back for Ballymun for the last 10-15 years as well. Unbelievable footballer, like even at his same age as myself, and never beaten. Like, he's just so hard, tough competitor, and so, you know, just a great mentality to win. And then you might know him, Davy Byrne as well.
Davy Byrne, yeah. Played
at Dublin as well for a few years, and won an All-Ireland with them. But for Ballymun, he's been one of the best competitors you'd ever play with. He's a guy you want on your team again rather than against. Yeah, and I'd say a lot of fellas in Dublin football will vouch for that, because he's top level footballer and not one to mess with.
And how can we forget John Small, Paddy Small too? Yeah, you're blessed with talent.
Yeah. Look, we are very lucky, as I said, for such a small club to bring through so many good footballers and to go on to such a great level and win so many All-Irelands and bring this club to a great standard that we hold ourselves to. That, yeah, look, it's brilliant, and look, may it continue. Hopefully we can find the next generation soon and bring them through to senior levels and do the same and help Dublin football become stronger as well.
Absolutely. Very last question. I suppose there's a young Alan Hubbard trying to maybe make the breakthrough onto a county team, club team, or I suppose what advice would you give him?
I suppose the big, I know it's probably a cliche, just work hard. I suppose from my perspective, I was never a talented footballer. This day, with a stick, I don't kick the ball very much. I run and pass it, but I suppose just working hard. Like, I was a small footballer. You know, I had to just try harder than everyone else and just be tough and mentally and just never give up. I suppose that's probably a few things. Just be tough, strong, work hard, never give up, and that's you'll get what you want in life in that way. And I suppose that's from football and your own personal life.
Great stuff, Alan. Great stuff. Well, Alan Hubbard, thanks a million for joining me this week. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by orgrich.com. Use the code JMac podcast to get 15% off on their website. Mr. Hubbard, have a great weekend. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks very much. Right. Talk to you soon. Right. See you, John.